Okay, welcome back, my happy chap. So, good morning, first off, and may you have a beautiful day. And if it's not been beautiful, if you find in any stage, which I pray you don't, change your way of thinking. Move to a different space and time. Somewhere where you'll be happy in your thought, so you can feel good about who you are, because you are someone special. You just got to agree to that in your way of thinking. And so it brings me to the legal system and how there's a separation between man and woman. I'm not going to speak about anything else that you call yourself, because that's not what was created. You were either created a man or a woman. If you change to be something else in between that's your choice. To identify as whatever you wish to identify, that's your choice. But it doesn't make you that thing. You're either a man or a woman. And so, in the legal system, it runs off God's laws, the ways of being. God's laws being man, woman. He didn't make anything in between. Anything in between is recreated from the man or the woman, like the legal system. And so we get a system that we all believe that I would believe in a man's side of things, that everything runs for the woman. So if there's a relationship and there's a divorce, everything stands by the woman. If there's any kind of separation and there's children, it always seems to stand by the woman. But what you don't see in the legal system is it stands by the man. And so in the legal system, every home, every family, the head of the household, the man, the woman, is king. King of that home, king of that kingdom. Your home is your kingdom. And so the father would be the king. The mother would be the queen. I like that there kind of sense to look at your partner like she's the queen. It's such a good way to look at it, I think, to honor them, to be something royal. If you love them that much, and I'm sure I've never really heard of Prince being called to your sons, but your princess, you always call your daughter the little princess. And so they're heart-touching words because there's an attachment to something more than just being. Rightfully so, because you are something more. So in the legal system, what you find is they hide this from us. I should say this was from the lawful system because of who we truly are. The law of God. And so the legal system hides this. Now, I can't recall what paper it was I read it on, because there's thousands of forms and documents in the legal system to mislead you, to get you confused, off track. But when I'm reading these documents, it had it in it about kings and queens and how the legal system hid all this and made us into slaves. And while making us into slaves, it was they who seen us like we were scum. And now, I'm not one to stick up for the government, or especially not the legal system. But I can see a point in where they were coming from. You see, there was a sense of wanting to control everyone. And we all have an ego. Where this comes from. And so they seen everything, how people were. Out what would be called a law or sin would be man-made. So when someone would be seen as doing something wrong, so say rape, it would be seen as wrong because it's out of nature. It's out of balance. So then it becomes sin. But rightfully in the laws of God, there is no sin. It is only seen as sin when it becomes into the physical form because it is out of balance. It's not with the flow of nature. With the flow of nature is the acceptance of the other. Where one accepts the other and the other accepts that one. And so they unite as one. And so there's the acceptance in that law and obedience, obeying one's needs, one's space, one's borders, instead of crossing the border and taking it as if it was yours. So you're crossing the line. And so there's many stages that we have where we can go out of balance, and so it'll be classed as sin. And so man brings in law to stop this sin from happening, to try to take control. So man could be more spirit rather than the beast. And so we are seen as the beast because of the way we behave. Out of control. Because instead of rising from the body and into spirit and acting like the Holy Spirit, we act like the animal, the physical beast that we are. And so that creates misbehavior, out of alignment, out of balance, where we would do things in life that would be seen as wrongdoings because they are out of balance with the laws of everything. And so when you have drug trafficking, people trafficking, child abuse, rape, murder, it's all out of balance because it's all actions that are taken. Now, I'm setting aside the painful emotional side, so I don't want you attached to the emotions because the emotions is the entrapment. To them and to you who observes it all, because you will see it in a certain way that will be biased, that will be a way of attachment in a caring sort of way. And I'm not saying don't care, of course you care, but you've got to look at it in a bigger picture to get a right sense of care. So when all this is happening, what you're seeing is these people are doing these things to find love within themselves. And they're so lost within themselves that don't realize this. And so while doing these things that are seen as bad, what you're finding is that there's other beings getting in between their misbehavior, and it's creating havoc seen as man who would be on the good side, who would see life as good, as in spirit, in the Holy Spirit. And so as the Holy Spirit, he doesn't like to see what's going on because it's out of control. It's not right, it doesn't run with the laws of God, and it needs taken care of. And so they bring in the legal system, which creates laws for these things. And so I'm sure now you can kind of start to see the need for a law. My only problem is the legal system is unlawful. It doesn't run with the laws. Maybe at one time it did, but it doesn't run with the laws today. And so what you have is one being or beings in the Holy Spirit looking at the society and seeing their behavior, and then majority of it is out of control. And so they want to correct it for what's best for you and what's best for me. But that's not getting corrected, because what has happened is they who run the legal system do it unlawfully. And if you're unlawful, how can you come in to think that you're going to create something that will be God's law when you're already doing something unlawful? And so what has happened is there's an increase in everything because of the vibration that they brought. They brought a hex on the people by creating the system that was unlawful. And so what you get is people who will follow the unlawful system by being unlawful. And so in the system you have the kings, the queens, the princes, the princesses, the princes and the princesses in the families. So when you look at marriage and how the legal system has seen these families, they've taken their inheritance. So you think of all your ancestors in the past who have passed away. And in the first beginning of time where the Romans took over your legal system, they would have had documents for your being, the land you came from, the land you owned, things that you mined, everything. So you would have had files of such on you, or you would go to the legal system and they would record everything. And it was to protect the people. What you would find is, if you go back far enough, there was mining done for the gold. And so people would use this as an exchange. And what happened was it could confiscate it. And people would keep mining. And after that, what happened would be, instead of using the gold as the currency, they created a currency, which you see today in money, paper money, elements, metals, created and shaped into money. And so by mining for all these substances, we're getting the gold and we're giving it off. But all the other substances is creating other things in our world that we know, and we use it as currencies to exchange for different products that we build and shape. And being the creator, but what we're being is the slave, because we're not seeing it all. And so all the gold that has been confiscated is held in like, it's not like, but let's just say it's held in a fault. I've explained this where I have my knowings of where it is. So it's kept aside so we could build a system that would create money that you create. And then that money would be exchanged with one another for physical things that we create. And then you have a system, a legal system that has social security. So that's like part of your trust. So we have a system that has a trust. So when somebody's not able to work for some reason or another, or able to provide, and they need help, they would go to this trust. Because the trust holds, supposedly, the equivalent in money form of the gold. Because you see, one of the laws of God is you can't take something for nothing. There's got to be give and take. When I give you something, you must give something back in return. And this is one of the problems that we have in the legal system and in humanity. People want to take. So if I come into your town and you see me as you see me on here, as I would say I was a nice person, I'm a good person, I want what's best for people. And if you've seen that, what you might find is the majority of people would try to take advantage of that. They would see me as being nice. Oh, well, I could get them to do this because they're such a nice person, or they'll do this. But what you don't see is, because I am a nice person, I'm also the opposite of that. I also have a very, very dark side. But I keep that at bay. It don't need using unless someone abuses my good nature. And so people don't see that. People just see what they can grab. And then you bring out the dark side of people. And when we get so dark, you wonder, oh, well, why are you so like that there? Because you've been trying to rob of me all day, every day. And this is the way that you make me feel. So now you're going to get the wrath of it. I'm not going to stay a nice being that you expect me to be all the time while you steal of me. I'm going to call you out on that shit. And when I call you out on that shit, you're not going to like what I have to say. Because I've collected days upon days upon days of all the dark shit that you do. And so when I go into my darkness, you're going to find all that dark shit that I collected about you. And you won't like it. And so then there becomes a separation in feelings. And so we are, oh, a little bit out of order and all this here. Yeah, because you don't see what you do. You don't see how you steal of people. You rob the people. By someone being nice, you think that you can take things off them all the time and give nothing in return. Is robbing. And it goes against God's laws. The laws of nature. Give and take. Give and receive. And so we must have that balance. And in the legal system, that's where the money comes in. They took the gold off the people that was their currency. And in exchange for the gold, they give them money, a currency that you also mine for. And so now that you have the money that is yours, that's sitting in the trust that belongs to you, you have to go and sign documents for it. You have to do all sorts of things to get it. And when you get it, you can only get certain amounts of it. And so it's a struggle to get something that's already yours. You create this in this day and age in a thing called energy usage. And so in the energy usage, it clocks up your value of who you are. That aside, we do another video on that. It's all about the stock market, the maritime law, how you are a vessel, a ship that came down the ocean, your mother. If the waters broke, you flew down the ocean and you shipped out as whoever you are. And so this is where the maritime law comes in. And now they have a shipping business, but that's a disguise. What you see in the physical side there is a disguise. Maritime law. Everything that you go by, like there's loads of different businesses out there that's cooperated into it all. But we're not going to go into that because it's kind of taken offside. But what I'm saying is the legal system. You have to have the give and take. So when they took the gold, they knew you had to still run by the laws of God. And so by manipulating it and making the people see it a certain way, then the people would never know. And they would be able to have control of the people, but at the same time hold the people's money in a way that looked like they were helping the people. Well, what they were really doing is keeping the wealth from the people so they would be slaves and work for the money. And what they already had worked for, and what you would see through your ancestral history of what has been held from you, what your whole family has worked for, has been held in a trust. So we have a legal system that holds the money, and then we make money in jobs and things like that, and then we pay tax back to the legal system that holds that money, so it gains more money in its trust, and it keeps doing that, and we keep paying it. We keep paying ourselves money into the trust, but we don't see it. And so what you get is a legal system who will build structures where it's actually us, the people, that's building the structures. Buildings, roads, and we get paid from it, from our trust. And then we pay it back to the trust. And you start to see the cycle. And so we are classed on what we do in life, jobs, different things, places we go to, buildings we sign into. Anywhere you sign your name, it's all recorded. About energy use, you move to here, you went to here. You've got a mobile phone that records everything. So it's all about energy usage. And I made another video about the gold, why the gold's taken, because it is a energy source, and how it's radiated all over the world through mobiles, for example, and how it's connected to Lexus Saturn, and how that is scanned, how we are scanned in what we do and what is seen, and how that energy picks up our energy and is able to see how much energy we are using or creating in what we are doing in life. And so we have that legal system that manipulates it all. That was set up unlawfully, which is another story. But it's unlawfully actions that is carried out. Everything is done not for the people, but against the people. Now, the system can be changed and fixed very easily for the people, but they won't see it as easily for the people because they want to have that power. And one of the ways of fixing this is people correcting their manners by behaving. They can't do anything when the people are behaving, because then you're being responsible for who you are. You're acting in the way that the godly laws want you to act. You're being responsible for all your actions. And you're carrying out things with good manner in a responsible way that is suitable for one another. And you're not just taking. But the legal system has you brainwashed to believe you gotta take it all. You gotta grab it all or you won't get nothing. And in a sense, there is some truth to that. To have that belief that you have it all. Because you do have it all. You just don't see it all. All is within you, in consciousness that will bring it to you. But you have to believe in it before you can see it, or you won't see it. And you don't believe in it if you're going grabbing for things all the time. Because when you're going grabbing for things all the time, your belief within you is lack. So you will lack things. And then when you go out there and you meet someone that's nice, you will see what you can get out of that person, what you can grab of them. Because you lack in your consciousness. And so that comes from the system. Because the system makes you feel lack. As they take it away from you, all the gold, and you have to struggle to get the money that is already yours. Makes you feel lack. And so you want to go and you want to pay bills. You need food for your children. And you're fighting it hard to provide for them. You're struggling, you're feeling lack. Where you shouldn't be. You should be able to walk in there and get money for them children straight away so you can go and get food and pay for that food and give it to your children so they're able to grow up into the Holy Spirit that's within them and not the beast, not creating a beast within them, children, showing them that you lack the money, that you can't provide for them and that they're going to have to hunt like the animals that they are. So they start feeling the lack of the mother and father, and they start being animals and growing up to be animals. When we call one another human beings, but we are a beast, and we will screw one another over for our own needs because we are thought that in a system, a legal system that is unlawful, which creates you to do unlawful acts. And so it's got you created in a mentality that you lack in these things. And because you think that you lack in these things, you do. And if we could understand the consciousness in feeling abundant, so you got to think abundant and feel it so you can be it. And now it's not just totally going to come out of the sky, but you're going to attract things to you that will bring that about your needs and what way you would feel it's something that you may need. But if you think of your needs as in that you've already got them, that you've already received and able to feel about it, to actually feel within you that you already have it, then you will see it. Then it will be. And the more we bring the people to think and feel in this way, then we can live all happily in a rich world, a wealthy world, where there is no need for anything. But that comes down to behaviour. You can't be going out there drug trafficking, people trafficking, child abuse, rape, murder, because that's all lack. It's people trying to get money. Do not be in lack. And then when you have these drug lords or whoever that's on top and they're making the money and all these other people around aren't, well, them who are on top are just as bad. They're not feeling the happiness of the wealth that they have because they're fighting to do it more. Oh, look what we've got. I need to do more of this because I ain't going back down to there. And so the legal system has these people doing this. Now you've also got choice. You've got the choice to do what's right and wrong, as what is seen as man, which will create sin. And what is right would be to stay in the laws of God, by using consciousness, by finding the spirit within you, and not being the beast. And so you can't just find spirit without looking for it. And because it's not seen, it's seen to be difficult. But all you have to do is sit with oneself. Sit with oneself in the dark and the quiet. And through time, you'll find spirit. But you see, you don't want to do that because it means then you have to do something that you don't like to do. Or it'd be just easier to go out there, sell some drugs on the street and get money for it. And then you're going to feel shitty somewhere along the line and you're going to have to do it again and you're going to feel shitty somewhere along the line, you're going to have to do it again, so on and so on. You're going to be watching your back for whoever else is selling drugs, who's on your plot, or all other criminals that you're coming up against, and you're going to be watching in fear while you have all this money. Doesn't make sense. Well, you could be abundant in who you are and have it all and not be concerned about anyone because you know the spirit within you, the God of all, is with you. And you've seen the actions take place as you have that belief. Because they do take place. All you have to do is look at vibration. So if you're at one end of the table and I'm at the other and I tap the table, you'll feel the vibration at the other side. It moves in the unseen that you do not see. But it's there. And so, as soon as you think, it's moving through you for you to feel. And when you think, feel, and you start acting towards them thoughts and feelings, then you do what you do. And it affects everything. because that vibration doesn't stop moving. You just stop being in distance of it to see or feel it. So when you carry out something, thought and feeling, and you take an action of selling drugs, and that person goes off and buys your drugs, and you never see them again. And possibly they could pass away, but it's not on your conscience. But it is in your conscience. You just don't see it because they are you and you are them. And so when they pass away, part of you, part of that energy is returned into you, and you're going to find that within you. But you're not going to know what it is because you're not going to know that they passed away. So you're not going to be thinking about it to understand how that vibration works. Or that vibration could be passed on to another. And it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep going. The only way that it's going to stop is it's been transmuted into something good. So when you're able to see it or feel it or capture it, when you don't know what it is, it could be something that niggles you and you find a feeling or something, and you're able to capture it and understand what it is by observing the thought that comes with that, and change that thought into something that's more positive, then you can change that vibration. So in the legal system, as I say, they've confused us. They've tricked us into a way of being. And so, as I say, I'm not blaming the people, but you have a responsibility to who you are. You have a responsibility in the actions that you take, in what would be seen as right or wrong, in the laws of God, in the laws of you. You know within you if you're doing something that's right or wrong. If you're doing something that's wrong, well, then you're following the legal system. And in the legal system, what you have is you have corporations. You have corporations in forms of businesses. So you have the media. And what the media will do is they'll show you advertisements. So buy this, it'll whiten your teeth and it'll be so bright that it'll blind you. And you're thinking, yeah, maybe I could get that. Or get this, it'll make your hair grow. And if you put this in your hair, your hair be twice as long in 7 days. Get this new razor, it's just the finest cut you've ever seen, makes your skin so smooth. To tell you all these things for you to grab, to want, to lust for the world, for things outside of you, so you can feel good. But the feeling doesn't come out here. The feeling's in here. And so you might look around your home when you have a lot of things that you don't need, that you bought because you seen an advertisement that told you it'd make you feel good, basically. And so when you received it and you used it and you felt it in how you thought it was going to be good, you put it to the side and it sits in the drawer. But what you're not seeing is, when you seen it and you felt it, that was your moment. That was your moment to start thinking wisely, making choice. So you see it. Is it something that you need? Is it something that you're going to make use of? And if it's like a one-off thing, is it worth the value that it says it is? Is it going to be worth the value to you? If not, then you turn that shit off and you move on from it. Because the more you watch it, the more it's going to overpower your thinking with them negative thoughts. But in a positive way. It will seem to be, because you're getting something for it. And because you've been trained into get what you can, grab what you can, you're going to want it. And so it's tricked you. And then if you've watched anything on the news, or 99.9% of it is all negative. War, fighting, crime. Because instantly when you get all this, there's a shot of adrenaline that rushes up you. Where if you see something that's loving, it takes a lot longer for it to go up. But it also takes a lot longer for that to go back down when you're in love and happy in who you are. Where you get the shoot of adrenaline from something that's outrageous and like, God forbid, but an explosion going off, you'd be jumping. And it instantly gets you. But it will soon go back down. And then you will feel shitty about it. Like, you watch a movie, and you're so entrapped going to the cinema, for example, and you're so into the movie, relaxed, and you finished your popcorn and you're just so into it, and the next minute is you're jumping and you're like following the movie as if you're in it, because you are. Your consciousness has caught you and placed you into the movie while you sit there. But consciously, you're in the movie, like it's happening with you, that you're there. And so, when you watch movies, and a lot of the time it's violence and that in a lot of movies, and it's leaving you distorted. It's leaving you out of balance in who you are. And as I say, this is all part of the legal system. These companies, these corporations. That's not to say that you don't watch these things or you can't watch these things. I'm just saying you need to be aware. You need to be aware of you, your choices. And that's like being consciously aware 100% of the time. Because 99.9% of the time, you're seeing something negative. And that's the way the world is. But it's your responsibility, my responsibility, the people's responsibility to transmute that into something good. So when we see something that's violent, we know, well, that's not how we want to be. That's not how we want our children to be. That's not how we want to see people on the street when we walk down it. We want to see them happy, smiling, hello, jolly, being honest, loving, caring, wanting to give you something, and you want to give them something in the appreciation of who they are. And when you go into a conversation, you go into a conversation like you care, because you do care. You're not going to go into a conversation, oh, it's a lovely day, oh, how are you, as if you care, and you don't care. When you're spouting out bullshit just so you can look good and look like you're a caring person, when you don't give a fuck, you just want to get on with your life and move on. If that's what you want to do, you go on and do it. But don't bring the fakeness to the scene and help increase that negativity, because as it goes up, it's actually going down. Your energy, as the energy of that darkness builds up, your energy starts going down, 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 lower and lower and lower, until you feel that you can't get out of it, until you're in a mess one day and it's so dark, that you're going to think that there's no way out of it. and it'll feel that way. But there's a way, and I'm giving you a way today. We're telling you to be aware of your choices. The legal system has set us up for failure from the beginning, and we've followed it, and it hasn't worked for the people ever. And it comes down to our way of thinking. You gotta think smart and not be a retard. Something I like to say in my own head, or did at one time. Because I wasn't always the thinker. I was one to like to take action, be the animal. And that only created more of the animal, of that vibration of what I was seeing, of what I didn't want to see. So the more I would be it, the more I would see it. So I started to think, to use my mind. And I started to see how it was created, how I myself created it. I could blame other people. Well, they did this, and I was brought up this way, and I seen this, and I seen that, and yeah, but that was them. That was them who was doing them things. It wasn't me. Just because I seen it, it didn't mean I had to feel towards it, but I did. And it made it all about me. Oh, poor me. No, it wasn't poor me. It was poor them who were stuck in it all. And I was absorbing myself into it and getting stuck in it as well. Into this world, into this legal system, into this war that they create on the people. And so I'd start to get violent and angry and frustrated in who I was by seeing who everybody else was. But that wasn't the way to be. Because that didn't make me happy. That made me sad. Made me sad to see other people sad, angry, frustrated, annoyed, wanting, longing. And all I wanted to see was them happy. But how could I get them happy if I couldn't keep myself happy? I was getting angry too. And so I learned to use my mind to think, does it make sense? Am I doing the right thing? Is everybody going to get the best out of this? There's no one going to be favoured over the other one? That we are all equal no matter what? And so your legal system doesn't have this. You are set below the system. We should be set equal to the system. The system's there to supposedly help you, but if it's not helping you, then why is it there? It's there for who's in the system. And so what we have is these companies that create the system. And now it is on the fall. That is undeniable. There is no way back. We're in the year of truth. And it's on the fall. And it ain't coming back. But we, as the people, got to make sure of that. By doing the right things in life. Not just for you. Sometimes you got to realize that what you want isn't what you want. You're going to feel that you want it because of how you've been groomed. And you're going to feel good if you do get it. But in what you might see, if you can look back past yourself, is Well, let's say you win the lottery and you're going to see all the things that you can get, and you're going to feel so excited by it. But you're also going to have a lot of people, because of the grooming they got, who are going to be envious of you. They're going to be the ones coming, grabbing, to get all that you have, by putting a smile on their face. Alright, what's up, bro? Heard you won the lotto? Class. Brilliant one. And when it's inside, thinking, alright, I'll just play this game for a wee bit longer and I'll get something out of you. And they really want to fuck you over. So you have that option. Maybe you didn't think of that side. And there's other ways that you could think of it. But there's always a balance you've got to look at on the scales. And then you've got another side, where everyone in your community has the lotto split between them, because you're all in the one ticket. And everyone has enough to be left comfortable. Now, don't turn and say, I still want all, because that's just showing that you're groomed, that greed. And you're not thinking that you already have it all anyway. You are already abundant with everything. That this is an illusion. No matter how physical it is, it's an illusion to create feeling outside of you. Now, if you've seen everybody else was happy, I just want you to think about whether it's, I want you to think about someone special to you, whether it be your daughter, your wife, a parent, someone that's special to you, really special, that you would do anything for them. And think of a moment where you've done something for them and it's made them happy. That you've seen them so happy in themselves that you were happy. That you felt that happiness that they were feeling. Now think of, you have the choice to give that happiness to your whole community. Do you see how good that could make you feel? Sharing, caring, loving one another, supporting one another, being there for one another. And yet, we're in a legal system that wants to snatch of one another. And you feel good about the thing that you got, unaware of how you're feeling. But when you see how you've made others feel and you start to see how you're feeling, you're like noticing who you are. You notice what you did, what brought around that feeling by supporting and loving others. So you support yourself and how you're feeling. And when you're feeling in such a good way, you're healing. You're healing your body. There's studies out there that's saying that when you love yourself, it kills cancer cells. So you go out there, you win the lotto, you don't share it, and you be greedy and you keep it to yourself. And then you have the people around you trying to rob you. And you know this. It comes about to your awareness that you know this. People are trying to get one over on you just so they can get your money. And it becomes you defensive. And then you're fighting a battle all the time. What are you doing? As much money as you got, you've just lowered your energy. And it's getting lower and lower and lower. With the consciousness of you and the consciousness of all other people who wants to come against your consciousness because of what they see physical that you've created in your greed. And so you get sicker and sicker. Your money's no good to you anymore. You shared. You've helped the whole community. You've helped them be happy. They may still be greedy. They may still want a snatch. But you've chosen wisely. You've chosen to do what was best for you and the people. So they got the vibration of it all while you got the return of what you'd done, which was the power of it all. You held the power within you and around you, within others. And you can't have such power if you don't use your mind wisely and be wise in your choices. Now, sometimes you might say that, well, they're not deserving. So you give it elsewhere. You share it elsewhere. Sometimes they might be the ones who are snatching all the time. And these may be the people who see you as the nice person. So why would you give it to somebody that snatches off you? You wouldn't. But the way I would see it is if I seen people struggling, people suffering, I would help them. I would want to help them. I would make it my way to help them people, help the people who would be struggling. And I don't mean people who think that they're struggling because they've got a conscious way of thinking and yet they have plenty around them. That's just greedy people. And the system has us all this way in a mixture. And some we have on a conscious level that's aware of it. And the majority, we don't. We don't choose wisely. I know I didn't. I can't say every choice that I make today is wise choice, but I try to be the best in who I can be. And every time I make a mistake, I try to better that for the next time that there's something in a similar form that comes up against me, that I choose a wiser way. And that's all I can do. And so we've got a system that controls us. And until we start observing the system, then we are only going to know, we're not going to realize how empowered we are. We're not empowered. We are, don't know what the word is. We don't use our self-power. Our power is taken away from us. We are drained from our energy. And it's like another video is saying, if you go to a concert, for example, and everybody's staring at the concert, listening to the music, your energy is taken from you. Taken from everyone. Their place of focus is the band. And the band's gonna feel fucking awesome. Why do you think they'll be jumping up around the stage and playing their music? Do you think they do that when they're at home? No. Your energy is feeding them. Your place of focus. Where energy focuses, energy goes. And as everybody focuses on the band's fucking rocking it out, enjoying life, because you're giving them life. You're giving them your life. I'm not saying don't go to a concert. Obviously, you can go to a concert, but you got to understand what's happening in the trance, the giving. They're giving you music, and in return, you're giving your energy away. And so you have this at any gatherings where you've got, if I was to stand up and start making a speech and then 1,000 people around me and they were focused on me, I would be absorbing their energy. Where I've got to give them something. I've got to give them a speech. And that's what they get in return from giving me their energy. And so I give them a speech and they take from it whatever they want. Maybe they take nothing from it. That was their choice. But you came, and by focusing on me and what I was saying, you give me your energy. And so if you're in a crowd and they're all focused on, you're giving their energy. And that's the system that we live in. It's give and take. Appreciate what you're given. Accepting. Supporting. But not overdoing. Because then you'll drain who you are. And then you'll come into that negativity. Where you've got to course, I like to say it is, yourself into a way of thinking to rise. So you can feel good about that way of thinking. By having memory, like I was saying earlier, to think of somebody that you made happy. And how happy that made you feel, that you made them happy. It's above all feelings that you're going to get outside of anything else outside of you. Because what you're doing is you're actually working on something that is unseen, but seen on the outside. You're working on a vibration within somebody else that can't be seen. But when they produce some kind of smile or giggle or chuckle, then you know whatever's happened has been good. And so whatever happens between you and that point, you don't see it, but it's made something happen in you. And so you feel good. And you may have a wee chuckle. And so all's good. You're working on the inside of consciousness while working on the physical side of the world. Bringing balance with love for one another. You put that into a phone, how much love are you going to get back? Do you know, it can be so irritating, I find, if I was texting, and I was texting another, I can't really be arsed. Even chatting on the phone. I want to talk to a person in person. I want to go into depth, into that person, who they are, what they're doing, how they're feeling. I want to know about them. And I generally want to know about the person because I want to compare myself, my life to it. And if there's anywhere involved in their life where there's a struggle, I want to identify that with myself and to see if it's something that I need to look at within me. And could some of their information help me? But more importantly, I feel that if there's something wrong, I want to help them. I want to help them out of that situation, wherever they're at, however they're feeling. I don't want them to feel that way. It's sad to see them feel that way. Because I know they're not feeling good about it. And so I feel that. And I know also, if I can make them feel good and show them another picture, well, they don't have to look at that. They can turn that round, look at the other side of the coin, so to speak, and see a different picture. And they could feel good about it. That I'll feel good that I did something good for them. Because I know they're in a better place now than when they were. And this is what we got to do when we look for conversations with people. As I say, with phones, we go into text messages, everything can be so confused in text messages. You don't get to see emotions of a person, so you don't get a true understanding of what a person is saying or what the belief, what the truth of it all is. We have people that put on masks every day and act in a certain way, but deep down we know you're full of shit. And just like that, what you see in text messages, people could write you things, and it doesn't show you who a person is. A person could write the nicest and sweetest things on a text message, but they could be a fucking serial killer. And you don't know. You don't know how to read them. All you know is how to read the words on the text. So you don't know how to read their actions because you haven't seen them. And so there's a separation of us beings with the likes of these devices, which I find is irritating. But I'm happy with who I am. I can be happy in myself. I don't need other beings or devices, because I've found with other beings, a lot of it is that falseness. They want to grab of you. They want to take what they can get of you. And nothing in return. And I don't do things for something in return. If I see somebody satisfied, if, as I say, in good feeling, then, and I feel good from that, that makes me happy. But if I'm doing something that makes someone feel good, and that's all right. But if all they're bringing me is, excuse me, negative energy, and they're feeling like shit, and that's all they're going on about all the time, well, then I'm not going to feel good. And you're not giving me back what I've given to you. I'm giving you something positive, and you're giving me shite all the time. Well, I'm not going to want that in my side. So I'm going to stay well away from that. And that's what I've done with people around me. I've separated myself. Because people just don't know how to speak good of other people. I don't like that. But it's the system. I understand that. It's not so much the people. The people are so hypnotized into the system. And everything that they do that's around them is just keeping them in the system. But until you come alert to who you are, then you will never be out of the system. The system will always control who you are. And all I'm saying is you got to learn to love one another. Do things to help one another. And when you're talking about someone, make it good. Don't make it good so you can look good. Because then you're just being an arsehole. And you're lying. Be honest. And if you've got something negative and that's all that you know about somebody, well, then you don't need to be talking about them. You don't need to be enhancing that negativity whatsoever. People will see it for themselves. And so we have this system and it's crashing. But you've got to keep it there. Keep it there on the crash by being more positive, loving, caring, honest, loyal. And if you're not any of them things, you keep this, be like me, separate away from it all. You don't have to be like me in that sense, like, but I'm just saying you don't need to spread your negativity to anywhere else. If you want to be negative, you keep that within yourself. It's your responsibility to look after that. Not for you to give it to somebody else to look after. You brought it upon yourself and it's for you to sort out, not for another. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't be there for one another if someone's down. But if someone is just negative all the time, then they need to take a look at themselves. They can go to counselling or can go to different courses and do different things, but they're never going to fix you. The only thing that can fix you is you, by looking at what you do, the actions you take. And actions isn't the physical movement that you see. The actions begins at thought. As soon as you're thinking, there's a physical chemical reaction within you of movement that is creating that thought. That's where you need to start. Start observing. And if it's not a good thought, you need to get that the fuck out of your head. It's that simple. And think of something good. In fact, for every thought you have, you should have 10 good thoughts. And if you haven't, then you need to start working on it. Because the only one that's going to be affected or infected is you. You're going to be vibrating on that negativity and nobody's going to want to be around you. Because you are being that. And if you find the majority of negativity is being negative, that'll become their truth. Which is what has happened with the people. In a system that has made them believe this is the way to be. So this is the way you have to be. So you have to go to work to do this and get your money, and you have to pay your taxes, and you have to go by the legal system. Because you've been told. This is your law. And you'll do what you're told to do. Doesn't sound very loving and caring, does it? Anyway, this is just my view and my truths of what I know on the legal system and how it comes about that you're actually a king or a queen or a prince or a princess in your home, and that they took that right from you and that wealth from you, which was why I started this video, and I'm only getting to it now, was it became a masculine thing, the physical, to rule over the feminine. And that's what they've done with the legal system. Where the masculine would believe that it doesn't work for him. Should the woman, if we got divorced and all this here, she get everything, or she get the children. But that's the masculine way of thinking. You're not thinking of loving. You don't want her to leave. You love her. That's why you had children with her. That's why you got with her. Obviously, there's something that's happened in the masculine side that is bringing you apart now. And so you want to fix what was once great. But everything that you've been created by in the system has created separation, because it's there for starters. It's a choice that's not needed. And so in the physical side of things, it's a masculine world where man rules the majority of everything. And this is how it's seen in the legal system. As I was reading the papers, it's what happens is the wife, the woman's money, her inheritance, is only give to whenever the king, excuse me, whenever the king claims his inheritance, the wife will get all of her inheritance, but only under the king. So tell me that's not masculine, overpowering the feminine. And where you don't understand is it's the feminine that creates it all. Through love, the unseen. Yet you see the masculine all the time in the scene, which creates havoc, destruction, want, the primal grabbing to get what they can get. As if there wasn't enough for us all. We are manipulated by the masculine side. And I'm not saying that we turn it over and go to the feminine side either, because it's the unseen. No. You don't want either side in order. You want it balanced. Where we're equal. Where man is needed for his needs. Woman is needed for her needs. And without one another, we would not be. No one's better than each other. But what we are complements each other. Two halves of a wholeness, of that feminine and masculine side of each and every one of us. But we are separated by a legal system that is masculine and that looks down on women as you're not powerful enough to hold us. And we look back to time of the apostles and Mary Magdalene and why she was kept out of the system, and it's all about the apostles. Well, Mary Magdalene was more important than any of the apostles to Jesus. But you're not told that. And so what was the apostles' problem? Jealousy. Out of balance. They didn't want a woman to have power, to have understanding more than they had. How would that make them look? Oh, so the ego starts going after masculine. We can't have this. We must take her away from all this. What we know of Jesus and what he's told us is right, and what she says, fuck that. We gotta get her out of here. Because that'll make us look like we were wrong. Or that'll make us look like we're not as important as she is. And so the women have the power. And like when you look at it, it's so idiotic that you can't just accept things for what they are. There's rights, there's wrongs, only because man sees it that way. But let it be. Let the truth be. And don't cover it up with ego and try to be nice. Let the truth be out there. So you be caring, loving, honest. And with that, you use your masculine side. So when somebody does something that you would see that was wrong or out of place with the laws of God, then you would correct it with your masculine side. Or some might want to say the dark side of the feminine, where you correct that behaviour. Where you see it as wrong. Where you see that all of others in that would be humane would see it as wrong, because it's not something that would be done to help one another, that is done for oneself through greed. Which you might see which was what happened with the apostles when you see Mary Magdalene was taken out of the system from what she knew and from how close she was with Jesus. Anyway, what I'm saying is, in a short version, is the legal system is just a mockery of God's laws and a trickery that has put a hex on the world, which is being lifted now, and it's disappearing. They're disappearing. And us, the people, have got to support that by supporting one another, which we came here to do in the first place, so we could rise in consciousness. So all I'm saying is, let's do that. Do it for yourself. When you do it for yourself, you'll do it for all others. This Happy Chopper, love and peace.